On May 4th, 2003, a tornado occurred near the Kansas City assembly plant. The plant's emergency response team volunteered to go into the local community and help with the recovery efforts. This is their story.
Look at all the debris.
Yeah, that's the woodlands.
There goes the woodlands. My husband's over there somewhere.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks.
What's your name?
Kirk Friels.
Kirk, I'm Don Fisher. I'm with Emergency Response Solutions International, and we're here at the Ford plant in Kansas City to talk about what we're calling resiliency, and that's how emergency response teams are prepared or ready to go off the plant property and use the training that they've learned in their emergency response training at Ford to help people in the community when something happens. So I understand you responded to an incident quite a few years back.
Wow.
Tell me what it is. What happened?
Well, we had a tornado in the Liberty area there in the Gladstone, and did a lot of damage to a lot of places. A lot of homes there, residential areas. So we volunteered to go and help do the cleanup work. With moving brush and trees, and we had swing sets that were hanging over fences and
But this area of the country has a lot of tornadoes, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're Tornado Alley, I think.
Yeah, Tornado Alley. So the plant here is located in Clay Como, which is right next to Kansas City. And where did you go? Did you go to Clay Como, or was there?
Well, it was actually, I believe, the Gladstone area.
How far away is that?
It just like a mile.
Yeah.
It wasn't very far. Actually, I think one of the guards took a picture from their guard shack of the tornado.
Oh, wow.
It was that close to the plant.
Yeah.
So,
what happened? What did you do?
Well, really, at that time I was part of the ERT team, and they came up, Pat Hayes and the group came up and said that the city was looking for volunteers to go out and help with cleanup because of the tornado being so close, being right here in our own backyard. So a bunch of us from the emergency response team volunteered and said, yeah, we'd be more than happy to. So we went out and we worked with the local municipalities and set up, they had a lot of the shredders set up, tons of trucks with chainsaws, and basically we just went around house to house and how can we help?
Okay.
Be it clean up the street, clean up the front yard, go clean up the backyard where the trees had been knocked over.
So are you required to be on the emergency response team?
No, it's completely voluntary. One of the requirements is that you need to be on a free effort job as opposed to being on the line. That way you have a little bit of flexibility on responding to an emergency.
So what does that mean, free effort? What do you do?
I drive a forklift.
Okay.
So I can make my own brakes and stuff like that. So if an emergency happens, usually I can notify somebody and respond to the emergency if it's in my area.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, Don. How you doing?
Good to see you. Don Fisher from Emergency Response Solutions International. I'm here with Pat Hayes. He is the Emergency Response Coordinator for the UAW here at the plant in Kansas City, which is actually located in Clay Como. Tell me a little bit about your position with the UAW.
Well, I'm a rep with UAW Local 249. I've been helping with training and coordinating our plant's emergency response team for about 22 years now. We've got 50 ERTs at Kansas City. They're primarily skilled tradespeople who work throughout the plant, and they respond to incipient level fires, medical emergencies. We do confined space and high angle rescue, and we also respond to hazmat spills and releases.
Right. So in your past, can you think of any other incidents other than this one where there's been a tornado here in the Kansas, Missouri area?
Well, the UAW and Local 249 have always responded to these kinds of emergencies. In addition to the 2003 tornado, a devastating tornado hit Greensburg, Kansas a number of years ago. and our members raised $8,000 to help aid the community. Another example was the devastating Joplin tornado, that one in Missouri, and our members raised thousands of dollars to aid the victims of that. We even have a number of our members have transferred from plants in New Jersey, and when the Sandy Hook hurricane happened, our members loaded up trailers and trucks and drove them with supplies to New Jersey to help with the reconstruction.
Yeah, and it's not unusual for Ford and UAW members to assist people during an emergency. Like in Buffalo, 2 years ago, they had that snowstorm. Do you remember that?
Yep, that's a great example of how our emergency response teams respond. Right around the Buffalo plant, they received just a tremendous blizzard. People were unable to leave work, so they had to shelter in the plant. And the freeway that runs right next to the plant, I remember in particular one woman who was on her way to receive chemotherapy was trapped in her vehicle. Our emergency response team members went out to the freeway, rescued her from her vehicle, brought her into the plant, sheltered her there for 24 hours, provided her with food, water, place to stay, and then helped get her to the clinic for her chemotherapy treatment the following day.
I remember reading the letter that she sent to the plant that said that she would always be be part of the Ford family for the rest of her life, and that she'd always purchase Ford products. Do you think that emergency response teams doing this helps to, present that image to the public?
I really do, and I think it's very important both for Ford Motor Company and for the United Auto Workers. Our members are a part of their communities, and they want to help out in these types of situations. And a lot of them are volunteer firefighters, they're paramedics in the communities where they live. Some of them even hold elective offices, they're on school boards, PTAs, Little League teams. So when these kinds of natural disasters strike, they want to be involved and they want to use the skills that they've developed as ERTs to help their fellow citizens.
Pat, what about some lessons learned with the ERT going off plant property? Are there any concerns, special concerns that maybe in the future you would maybe do things a little bit different?
You always try to learn from every experience that you go through. And of course, after the devastating Gladstone tornado, our ERTs went over there to help clear brush so that emergency vehicles could access the scene. And one of the things that we learned based on that was that we needed to do a more thorough job safety analysis before they went over. And in particular, make sure that we were providing them with the right personal protective equipment, safety glasses, gloves, that kind of thing.
Helmets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because of course, we're equipped and trained for the type of emergency response work we do in the plant, but it's a little bit different when we step outside the plant. And so we learned that we need to think that through a little more carefully for future events. Another thing, we train intensively for the type of response work that we do in the plant, but the type of response work we do outside of the plant is a little bit different. And so one of the things that we're looking at is making sure that there's training provided to prepare our ERTs for these different types of situations they might encounter.
Great. Well, that's one of the reasons we're working on this video right now, is to improve people's awareness in that Ford ERTs or emergency response teams or team members do work out in the community, and that they do need to take the same precautions outside the plant as they would inside the plant.
Absolutely.
So just in closing comments here, what would you like to say about the whole idea of resiliency in communities and ERTs helping to to provide that?
Well, you know, the Gladstone tornado is a great example of that because it wasn't just one isolated tornado. It was a series of tornadoes that covered a big part of the metro area. So the one that hit Gladstone was just one of many. So emergency responders, fire departments, police were really tied down in that situation, responding to all the different areas of the city. So having our ERTs be able to help meant that our community was able to respond quickly, not have to rely on and wait for outside assistance, but get right to the work at hand and accomplish that.
Well, good. Well, thanks, Pat. Appreciate you doing this.
Good talking to you,
Yeah,
Don.
all right.